Birdland Tonight is your place for Orioles post-game coverage for fans by fans. All of the hosts on Birdland Tonight are Oriole fans that are either writing blogs or doing podcasts about Orioles. Head on over to birdlandtonight.com to learn more about the hosts and other shows and websites that they're a part of. And head on over to Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch and subscribe, follow, or like, whatever the appropriate thing is, to Birdland Sports. Finally, share, retweet, and tell your friends about Birdland Tonight so that we're all joined into the conversation after every Orioles game this year. We'll see you guys in just a couple minutes. Head on over to the comment sections on Facebook and Twitch and YouTube to start interacting now. We'll see you soon. Did you know Birdland Tonight is also a podcast? Head on over to your favorite podcast app and subscribe to Birdland Tonight to get the audio of this show every morning ready for your commute. Thanks for joining us. We'll get started in just 1 minute. Make sure that you have subscribed to us on your favorite social media. Look up Birdland Sports on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. Like, follow, retweet, share. See you in a moment. All right, guys, welcome to Birdland Tonight. I guess the afternoon edition. For now, it's just me. I think Matt's going to hop on here. Just got a message from him saying he could come on and join us. I think he's probably a little excited because we saw stuff from the Orioles today that has been frustrating us. We saw the Orioles score runs. We saw Austin Hayes hit 2 home runs. And who got the other? Was it Franco? We saw home runs today from the Orioles. But it all starts with the pitching. AJ, I see you there. I got your 2027 shirt up on the site. We'll get to that in a little bit. AJ joined us yesterday, and we were talking in yesterday's show. Cody and I went a little long because we were so frustrated with the Orioles yesterday, because we all knew as soon as we saw a bullpen game with Wade LeBlanc starting that the Orioles didn't have a chance, and that it made it look like the Orioles weren't trying to win yesterday's game. So today, you put John Means on the mound, and it's a difference. So let's bring Matt into the game, into the show, now that he's just hopping on. So let me jump in here with some little flips. Hey, Matt.
Oh, hey, Josh. Good.
Hey, thanks for hopping on here with me.
Yeah, I'd rather be, you mentioned bringing me to the game. I'd rather be brought into the game. But I guess I'll take the show.
Yeah. Well, speaking of brought into the game, I do want to talk about Zach Lothar and him bringing him in for like cleanup duty at the end of the game. Kind of a weird way to make a premiere for a player for a team that in the past has been so worried about starting major league clocks.
Yeah.
I thought he was kind of brought into this bullpen. When I saw the announcement last night and this morning, I thought it was kind of, oh, we blew our bullpen. We have no long relief guys that we can trust. Let's bring Lothar up so that we have someone in case things go wrong. So I didn't think we would see him today when John Means pitched a gem again.
Yeah. And I think the headline, and I assume you already talked about, is John Means and Austin Hayes.
Haven't gotten to it yet. We're like 2 minutes into the show.
All right. Well, John Means and Austin Hayes is the story here. But yeah, Zach Lothar, it surprised me. His call-up surprised me, first of all. I was surprised that Wade LeBlanc was let go. I was pleasantly surprised.
Right.
I did not think this would happen until July, to be honest.
Which is why I thought he was in that bullpen for like emergency use only. Because if they didn't bring him to the game today, his clock wouldn't start and all that. Because if you're going to start the Zach Lothar clock, sure would have been nice if you started it yesterday and let him start the game.
See, my takeaway is, first of all, I don't think the clock matters at all with Zach Lothar. Okay. I think the clock only matters with superstars. So I think it only matters for Adley Rutschman. He's the only one, I think, in organization who the clock is even a consideration.
Lothar's number 11 in our farm system or prospect list.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would think that would count. But I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Do you want to back up, though, to John Means?
Yeah, because I think that it is interesting. And see your argument saying that Zach Lothar should have brought in yesterday. And my argument, or my mindset is, wow, I can't believe he's brought up this soon. And I can't believe they cut ties with Wade LeBlanc so quickly. But props to the Orioles for making those moves. That's kind of my view.
I agree with you, because yesterday's game, Cody and I went on for like 40, 50 minutes on Birdland Tonight last night, because it seemed like the epitome last night of the Orioles not wanting to win a game by letting Wade LeBlanc start it and this and that. So you would think, yeah, with your mindset, why would you bring up Zach Lothar? Because you just showed us you don't care about winning.
Yeah, I mean, it's this tough blend where, I mean, I think they do care about winning, right? And it's this tough blend where you have guys like LeBlanc and Franco that you're clearly, and Galvis, that you're clearly just there trying to flip. And LeBlanc was one of those guys.
Yes.
And just buying time for your other guys.
Right.
But, I mean, they brought up Ryan Mountcastle last year. They brought in Dean Kramer last year. They've had, Dean Kramer start the year this year. So they had Bruce Zimmerman start the year this year. So it's not like they refuse to play young players either. So I think it's this tough balance where they're not trying to bring up no talent, right? It's not like they're trying to let's bring up all the talent at the same time in 2022. No, they're sprinkling in talent kind of each game. But the biggest talent of all in this team is John Means, right? Like I don't know if you can say enough about his performance. He kept his pitch count down.
6 1/3 innings, 2 hits, 1 run, which was that solo shot, and 6 strikeouts.
Yeah.
So his ERA is 1.5, 1.5.
Yeah. Yeah. Over a pretty kind of large sample size here against some really good teams, and against an unbeatable team seemingly in the Oakland A's. And he had only give up 2 hits, and then the location went a little bit there at the end. And they gave up only the solo home run. If you're gonna give a home run, make it a solo. And so just all around an ace performance once again from John Means. And this is kind of per usual by John Means, right? This is now who he is this year.
And I think you also, when you put a guy like John Means on the mound, you set the rhythm for your team. Where when he's out there versus Wade LeBlanc out there, you immediately set that rhythm of get me 3-4 runs, we can win this game.
Oh, no doubt. I mean, he's only had one game where he's given up 3 runs. Right. I mean, total runs given up. First start, 0. Opening day, obviously, an amazing start. Then 1 run. Then 3 runs is his worst start. Then last start, 0 runs. And today, 1 run. So, yeah, it's even hard for the Orioles offense to screw that up.
Yeah. And then after Means, you got Plutko finished out that 6th inning or 7th inning. And then Fry comes in. Paul Fry has been outstanding this year.
That was a weird thing, right? Because his spring training was so terrible. Yeah. You're like, what's going on with Paul Fry? And then all of a sudden he turns it on, and he was just freaking. He's been freaking electric. Yeah,
he was in for 1 inning and got 2 strikeouts, and then we talked Lothar. Got to see him come in. And gave up 1 hit, 1 strikeout. Great way to start.
Yeah, and listen, I think Lothar was called up today partly because what you did to that bullpen yesterday, right? And you just needed arms.
And that's exactly. Yeah. That's what I thought. And then once you saw, I guess once it became a blowout, the Athletics imploded in like Oriole fashion today in the 8th inning. So walk runs in and everything to the point of you're like, well, it was a great opportunity for Lothar to get his first start where you're not really going to blow a 7-run lead.
Yeah, if you look at those walks, it's funny that there was a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 walks. The Orioles walked 7 times, but no one walked more than once, right? So of the 9 hitters, all but 2 of them had a walk today. Galvis and Mullins were the only guys not to walk, which is kind of crazy.
Well, Mullins got 3 hits, so it's all right that he didn't walk.
Yeah, well, and Galvis had that double, so it's okay that he didn't walk.
So let's talk about this offense a little bit then.
Yeah.
Because the other thing that stopped is the strikeouts. They got 9 strikeouts, which whenever the Orioles can stay in single digit for strikeouts, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'd like to see it better, but they've gone 3 straight games before today without a home run, and they have 17. Before today, they had 17 home runs, which was the fewest number of home runs in the American League. So they got 3 today, 2 for Hayes, and then it was Franco, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So nice to see the ball starting to carry. I don't think it's just the warm weather of the afternoon. I think finally we're starting to see the lineup come together.
Yeah, well, I did the post-game show on Friday. On Thursday. I don't know when I did the post-game show. Oh, Friday. And that was that game in the 6th inning where I lost my mind because they had left the bases loaded and they had 4 singles to score a run. Like it's really hard to score runs just with singles, right? Like because you got to get 4 of them to get 1 run. A home run is easier, but the problem is the Orioles weren't hitting home runs and haven't been hitting home runs, and that makes it even harder to score. Like you look like even up into that last inning, right up until the 8th inning, they only had 3 runs, but they had a bunch of hits, right? And so it's like. You need to get extra base hits. Like you need to get extra base hits, and the strikeouts is one thing, but you're right. The lack, and you look at this lineup. Like there's no reason with Franco, Mancini, Mountcastle, Hayes that you shouldn't be hitting home runs, right? We have home run hitters in our lineup. They're just not hitting them. Mountcastle is the most obvious example, and we could talk about his struggles, but Austin Hayes hitting 2 today, and we talked about it, Josh, when he went down. Like it's a lineup changer without Austin Hayes. And honestly now, like you miss Santander. And so you're just like, when can we get a freaking healthy team, a healthy outfield to show how talented this offense is? But yeah, Hayes, you can see Hayes Hayes just makes hard contact. Even when he's struggling, he makes hard contact. Right. So it's great to see Hayes get those home runs, going opposite field today, which was awesome to see.
It was nice to see Mountcastle get that walk in the 8th inning when he's really been struggling to get anything. Yep. So that was a big walk.
I thought Ryan McKenna had a great at bat to get that to walk a run in.
That's exactly where I was going. Even McKenna today showed patience with the walk, and he got a hit today.
Yep.
So
I thought McKenna and that outfield, Josh Mullins, Hayes, McKenna, like that's just a stud outfield. A super
as far as
fast stud
range,
outfield.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, and that's leaving. You've got Stewart on your bench who's been hitting the ball well.
Yep. Or I think does he lead the team maybe behind Mullins and OBP? Yeah, like he's a get on base kind of guy.
So it's really interesting that we have guys that have the talent if things can get strung together. But then we still have big holes in this team.
I would say offensively, there's two, for me at least, there's two glaring holes offensively that are annoyingly frustrating to watch.
Second base?
Second base.
Yes, second base. Huge. What's your other hole?
Urias just isn't getting it done. And my other position is catcher. Right. And I don't know why they bat Severino batting 3. I don't know why he's third in the batting order. I don't really understand that. Well, I don't know why Mackhouse is still batting 4th. Oh, I'm sorry, I was down. Like, he was 4th and Mackhouse was 5th. I don't know why he's batting 4th.
Well, because he's been the only guy hitting the ball the past couple of games.
Okay.
Against Oakland. He's the only guy who's been getting on base.
Well, his OPS of 603 is one of the worst on the teams. So
Right. But again, it's like, all right, second base, I don't know what the future holds for second base. But we know that Severino's a placeholder. Franco's a placeholder. Galvis is a placeholder. All these guys are placeholders. The outfield is not placeholders.
Yeah.
It's figuring out which of these guys is the future.
But even if we're just looking at the baseball team in 2021, like I'm okay. Like Galvis is a Major League Baseball player. Like he's a major leaguer. And I think Franco is too. Like I think they're two professional major leaguers who could start on several teams in the majors. I don't know if that's true with Severino and Urias.
Right. And that's right.
Urias.
And that's where Friday you lost your mind over that 6th inning. Yesterday I lost my mind after how this team wasn't even a major league team that played yesterday. And part of my thing yesterday is I looked up Hanser Alberto. And you know what? He's having a perfectly acceptable season playing second base. So when you lose a guy like that, I get it. Hanser Alberto, we all enjoyed more as a guy who was always happy, smiling on the bench, and seemed to keep getting on base, but didn't really. Not your prototypical second baseman. He's better than what we've got.
Yeah, and that was a frustrating move at the time, and it's still frustrating because you really didn't need the 40-man spot. You could have fit Alberto in the 40-man spot, and the reason he was cut is because
money.
He was going arbitration years.
$1.6 million he got.
Yeah, he got a little bit expensive, and you could replace that cheaper. And they looked at him, I think, as not being part of the future, right? And so they said, let's find other guys who are part of the future. But certainly Alberto would be an upgrade at second base over anybody. And he's playing, he's with Kansas City now, is doing some platoon stuff. So I know he played shortstop a couple of days ago. He played second base. Like he just kind of fills in. But we also, we won today against a lefty, but we've been struggling against left-handed pitching too. And that's kind of Hanser Alberto's specialty.
Right. Well, how big is it that Cedric Mullins, now that he's switched to lefty only, is doing better than ever against lefties?
Yeah, and they had a graphic up today on Maston talking about batting 180 or something against left-handed pitching, batting as a right-handed hitter the past couple of years. Now all of a sudden he switches to lefty on lefty, and it makes you wonder. There's always those guys. I feel like Matt Wieters was one of those guys where they just hit better at one side of the plate, and you're like, well, why don't you just always hit that side of the plate?
I think it's because they were told at a young age. It's just like now you're like, what do people tell you about your kid? Teach him to throw left-handed.
Yeah.
Because left-handed pitchers will dominate. Yeah. Well, what if he can actually throw harder right hand? Is he still going to try to tune into a left-hander because left-handers are more popular? And guess what? Left-hand at bats through high school and college are harder to come by.
Yeah.
So you're going to want to bat left-handed because you think it gives you an advantage when really now he's put all his focus on one stroke and it's working out well for him.
Well, also, if you just think about it as far as how many swings it takes to become good at something, and because the majority of major league pitchers are right-handed, right, which is also why Silas is now a lefty, but the majority of pitchers are right-handed, which means Mullins is going to get the majority of his bats as a left-handed hitter, right? So going up through the minors, even to the majors, the majority would be for every one at bat left-hand, he's getting, as a right-handed hitter, he's getting 4 at bats as a left-handed hitter. So it makes sense he'd be better at something he does a lot more often because they're just more right-handed pitchers. And so I don't know if this will last, right? I don't know if this is just kind of to be honest, I'm still kind of skeptical about what's going on with Cedric Mullins because he's just so good.
Right.
And so when he comes back down to earth, right? Like now he's on an extended hot streak because he's not going to bat 350 the whole year. So when he comes back to earth, where is he? Is he a 290 hitter? Is he a 280 hitter? I mean, if he could even finish up there, that'd be awesome.
Right. Are you convinced on John Means now?
Yeah. Hey, listen, I'm all in. I'm all in.
From John Means is what we're going to continue to see.
Yeah, I'm all in. I'm all in. So let's have the conversation, Birdland. Let's talk about Grayson Rodriguez. Let's talk about DL Hall.
Hold on. That's not the conversation that this is going to go. The conversation is not John Means is an ace, so let's start talking about all the other guys we're bringing up. Unfortunately, the conversation we have to have is John Means is an ace. Are we trading John Means?
Zero chance. Zero chance. No, Josh, here's the conversation we're having.
Yeah.
Grayson Rodriguez is coming. DL Hall is coming. At least here's the conversation I'm having in my head. These guys are coming. We're gonna center John Means as kind of the centerpiece of our rotation, and then we'll add Grayson Rodriguez to it. We'll add DL Hall to it, and whoever else emerges.
You expecting those guys this year?
No.
Okay. All right. You're just saying next year or whatever.
Yeah, I'm saying John Means is the centerpiece, and then you add these guys, and you can add them one by one. I think.
Well, Matt Harvey's a placeholder. He won't be here next year.
Yeah.
Zimmerman and Creamer. Do these guys stay in your rotation in the future?
Well, yeah. I mean that's what we have to find out because young pitchers are coming.
Right.
We just saw Zach Lothar. He's a starter. I mean, he came out of the bullpen today. He's a starter. He's going to get his chance to start in Birdland this year. So will Alex Wells. Right. So will Michael Baumann. And that's not the best of our crop. And we still have Kevin Smith. Like we could just go on and on about all these pitchers we have. And so we saw Kramer, right? Even he struggled a little bit. His job is up for grabs. And Keegan Aiken sliced his finger.
Aiken
sliced his finger making breakfast.
Now, is that finger's now Aiken?
Yeah, appreciate the pun, Josh. But this is. Can you imagine, Josh? What if he never gets a chance to start because these other pitchers pitch really well, right? Like he had his opportunity, and he probably would have been his go to start if he didn't cut his finger. Now all of a sudden, what if Zach Lothar pitches well? It's hard to send him back down, right? What if these other players continue to pitch well? Like you only have a certain amount of time to make an impression, especially with all the younger pitchers we have coming up.
Yeah, it's just like when we had Zach Britton and Brian Matthews and other guys coming up.
Josh, you think John Means will be a trade candidate? You think we'll look to trade him?
Yes. I don't want to, but I don't trust Mike Elias after yesterday. I really think yesterday was the biggest tank job the Orioles have done.
Oh my gosh, rebuild. It was one game.
I get that it was one game.
And we responded by cutting Wade LeBlanc. Like a tank job would be keeping Wade LeBlanc.
No. Yes, but I don't think there was no plans to cut Wade LeBlanc. Cutting Wade LeBlanc was something Mike Elias figured out in mid-game to make the adjustment. There was no plan of let's pitch his way out of here. It was, all right, I'm not going to get anything from him. He's pointless. We're not going to be able to trade him. Let's cut him.
Yep, that's exactly right.
But that was figured out after the game started.
Well,
I think
it's not just based. I mean, Wade LeBlanc's been bad this entire season.
No, yes, but my exactly, and my frustration with yesterday's game was mishandling the 2 days off with sending Kramer down, which still doesn't make any sense because mathematically you could have had you had guys where John Means would have been on one extra day rest, Harvey would have been on normal rest. So I think when your lineup is really struggling and you put in a pitcher in there that you know is going to give up 4 or 5 runs, you're telling the lineup not to try, which I think isn't the tone you want to set for your team when everyone at the plate is pressing too much. So that's why I got frustrated with yesterday. Yeah. And
I would argue, like I would agree with you, and there was, how do you have 2 off days and you still can't find a starter? I don't understand that.
It doesn't work.
But throughout the course of the season, I feel like every team has this, right? Where they just kind of have to give up a game, right? Where you know you're not going to win it.
Yeah.
I feel like all teams have this.
No, and they will. And I just felt that it was setting the wrong tone for a lineup that you really needed to bounce back. Thankfully, today was a great bounce back game where today we can forget yesterday and we can move forward and
I think
go on from there.
Some encouraging things about the offense is not just the results, because the results were there with 8 runs, 9 hits, 3 home runs, but also the approach, right? Like being patient, not swinging at bad pitches, 7 walks, getting deeper into counts often, right? I think, and Michael talked about this when we did the post game with him on Friday. Like the just the difference between how the Athletics always kind of worked the count and got in hitters counts, and how the Orioles never did. How they were always 0-1, 0-2.
Right. Yep.
And so I thought we saw a much better approach this year. This game, and certainly the dongs help. And I think as the weather gets warmer and as these players kind of get hot, I think we're going to see a lot more dongs out of some of these guys. Right, Josh, I want to get your quick impression though on Ryan Mountcastle. Right. We saw last year, and I want to stay upbeat. I'm positive. I love the way we played today. I love John Means. I love this offense. At least how I played today. But Ryan Mountcastle has been struggling, something like 1 for his last 25 or whatever it is. We saw what happened last year when guys went to the alternate site and they did almost kind of miraculous work when they came back up. Yeah. Is there any, Josh, consideration in your mind of a little Project Bowie renovation for Ryan Mountcastle?
Totally. Hold on. Let me grab the schedule. You know what? Let's take our quick break here, and then we'll come back and talk about this.
All right.
All right, real quick break just to reset. Ryan Mountcastle, you were asking me about him and Project Bowie and if I see that as something happen. I think yes, depending on how things go with New York this week. We have New York coming into town for 4 games. Those are not going to be easy games. In fact, the Orioles to this point have the 3rd hardest strength of schedule in the majors. And the next 5 series that they have is the Yankees, the Athletics, the Mariners, the Red Sox, and the Mets. They're all good teams playing well. Yeah. So, I mean, I get it that, fine, we're tied with the Yankees now.
We're fighting it out for last place.
Right, but we all know that's not a real stat of the Yankees. That's going to change.
Yeah, they will not finish down there. They're a better team.
But here's the deal. After the 4 games against New York at home, we go to the West Coast for games in Oakland and Seattle. That's a great time to leave someone behind to say, work on Project Bowie, and then we'll pick you up when we come back on the East Coast.
Yeah.
And it's also your last chance to get someone the super focused attention of Project Bowie before the season starts at the beginning of May for the minor leagues.
Yeah. It's I think you're right on. I mean, we saw it last year, with DJ Stewart and also with Cedric Mullins.
Yes. And it was pretty miraculous for them.
Yeah, the only difference would be is no one predicted Cedric Mullins to win the Rookie of the Year, right? Or DJ Stewart.
Right.
I think the expectations just were a lot higher for Ryan Mountcastle, and he played all of last year or most of last year at a really high level.
Yeah,
and he's a highly touted prospect. So this would be, I think, like the leash is a lot longer with Ryan Mountcastle. So I think it'll take his struggling more to really make this happen. But yeah, I think it's at this point. I mean, he looks rough. So
right.
I think it's very possible.
And AJ's pointing out at this time, it doesn't look like Mountcastle's going to even be in the conversation for Rookie of the Year.
At this point, no.
Right.
No. At this point, he's in the conversation for the worst player in baseball, to be honest. I mean, he's been that bad.
Yeah, at this point, you could bring Chris Davis up and get the same production.
Oh, he's playing, I think comparable to Chris Davis, which is not where you want to be.
So Project Bowie was really intense and focused last year. I'm not really seeing that this year. I know they're playing games against the Nationals team and stuff, so I don't know if it's the same focus of last year, but we don't really know what happened last year. It was
you don't know the same focus of last year. You have no idea what went on last year, so don't give me this idea. It
was way more
different. How is it different from something you don't even know what it was? Yeah.
I don't know, but again, when you got guys in this lineup, we know someone's going to get moved around to bring Kramer back on Thursday or Wednesday. One of those games, I think, is when he can come off the 10-day and start.
Yeah.
And at this point, I'm more curious and like McKenna coming off the bench and allowing guys like Stewart to be in your lineup by sending Mountcastle down to Bowie for 10 days.
Yeah, I mean, if Mountcastle doesn't give you anything defensively, so if he's not producing offensively, he really has no value for it. Like McKenna, even if McKenna is similar offensively right now to Mountcastle, at least McKenna brings speed and defense and base running to the table that Mountcastle doesn't.
Well, you send Mountcastle down, and you've got the same. You got your outfield of Austin Hayes, Cedric Mullins, McKenna, and then Stewart in your DH. And I mean that's an impressive defense. And then you're getting all those guys in the lineup. I like that.
Yep. And then Mancini, because today Mountcastle played first base, and Mancini can just take over that and play first base.
And Mancini's starting to do better. He was pressing, and that has seemed to calm down a little bit at the plate.
Yeah. I thought even when he was pressing, though, like I feel like over the past week he's been hitting the ball hard. I feel like he's the victim of the bad luck, and I think he had a hit on Friday, like an infield hit. I was like, yes, finally, like get an infield hit to make up for the line drive outs you've been having recently.
But that's the same thing with Mountcastle, where he hits the ball hard when he makes contact. He hits them deep. He's had lots of warning track shots, but he can't get the extra 5-6 feet to get it over.
Yeah, and I just feel like, and I think I gotta do a deep dive into Mountcastle's stats, but I feel like he has more 0-2 and 1-2 counts than any player I've ever seen in my life. Like I feel like he lives at 0-2 and 1-2, and so I don't know. I think there needs to be, I don't know if patience is the key or what. Like you don't want to change who Mountcastle is, but certainly like players talk all the time about kind of the mental aspect of the game and how struggling to make you press and weigh on you and kind of just compound the problem. And it seems like going to Bowie, even if it's just for a week or something or 10 days, would be a nice little reset, right, for Ryan Mountcastle.
Yeah,
but he's still like long term, like he's the guy. He's the guy, and the 1-25 does not change my opinion of him that he's the guy. And if you're gonna struggle in 2021, struggle in 2021, so you'll be good in 2022. I'm okay with it.
And I think Mountcastle maybe eventually will even be okay defensively. I don't understand why. I don't understand how a player gets to the major league level and can't play defense. I get it that he's got the bat, but he's got speed too. He's got 3 stolen bases now.
Yeah, he got sneaky speed. I mean, I've talked about this before. I don't understand it. Like, I feel like I could play left field if I just practiced enough, right? And this is a guy who was drafted as a shortstop, right? So certainly athletic. You can tell he's really athletic. But yeah, he's had, I would say his time in the outfield has been up and down.
Yeah.
But then I also think of like Chance Sisco, right, who's been trying to learn how to catch for the past 10 years in the majors and still can't figure out how to catch well. And you wonder if that's going to be a situation for Mountcastle. So on the other hand, he hasn't been playing outfield for very long. So I think we can be patient with the outfield play. On the other hand, like he seems okay at first base. So I think that's a good plan B. Just have him play first base. Is there
any chance you try him at second base since we don't have a second baseman?
No, there's zero chance. Because why? I don't know. Because he is such a good offensive weapon that I don't want to get silly and cute with the second base nonsense. You can find, it doesn't matter, Josh. Well,
you're putting him in the outfield.
I know, but I feel like that's better than playing second base. I don't know why, but and Josh, I could 2023 World Series, I'll get you a second baseman. I don't care. I'll get you one.
There's guys that I trust coming up in the farm system for second base. You're right.
But not just that, but you got to remember, we don't need to fill every single position within our organization, right? Yeah. Like there's free agency.
Yeah, we're going to spend some money.
Yeah, Michael Elias will spend money. And if you're going to spend money, a pretty cheap way to spend money is second base, because there's just not a highly paid position. So if that's your whole second base, you're doing pretty well because you can fill that position in free agency. But we'll see. We'll see because your Reyes is going to have a chance, I guess, for a little bit longer. I don't know how long his leash will be. And then I think the next guy up is Jahmai Jones, who will have a chance. And I think Richie Martin will have a chance. And I think Rylan Banning will have a chance. I think those are 3 guys that could have a chance to play second base for us. So I think there'll be several opportunities for guys. And if they don't work out, then we'll do free agency, or we'll just wait a little longer for, I don't know, Mason McCoy or someone to move over there and figure it out.
Yeah, okay. I can bet it. Over on the Birdland Sports website, we put up some more. We expanded the 2023 World Champion T-shirts from Section 336 to more years.
Because of COVID.
Because of COVID, yeah. We pushed the years because of COVID. We went all the way up to 2027 because of AJ. AJ wanted a 2027 because that's what Major League Baseball is projecting.
Now, is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah. So my hope is that we win it in 2023, 24, 25, 26, and 27.
Yeah.
So they'll all be true. But are you still sticking with this 2023 timetable?
Yeah, and I think 2027 might be a big deal because that's when you get the 5th ring. So then you have like one for every finger. So that'd be kind of cool.
And that's the whole point of this. The whole point of this is if you get your first in 2023, you don't just disappear. It's a rebuild, not for 1 year.
Well, it's to go cross sports. It's the Ravens idea, right?
Yes.
Why would you trade Orlando Brown Jr. when he's a better right tackle than the right tackle you have right now? Well, because you have 1 year left of him, and you're going to get someone who's going to be hopefully comparable, and you'll have him for 5 years as you draft him. And so it's building a sustainable organization that can win year in, year out. That's what Michael Elias is trying to do. That's not, I love Dan Duquette. That's not what Dan Duquette was there doing. Dan Duquette was like, I want to win as many games as I can right now. Dan
Duquette was win now.
Yeah, I don't care about what happens next year.
That's why we traded talent away to win now.
Yep, and that's why we haven't traded any talent away. Or at least we've traded talent away to get younger, cheaper talent. And so I think the goal is, right, and that's why we're spending millions of dollars on this complex in the Dominican, right? Because we want to have this pipeline of international prospects. And so
I saw the Orioles are looking to hire some baseball instructors for down there.
Oh, are they?
I know you're applying out to colleges and universities. Ever think about the Dominican Republic?
No, you know what? I thought about joining teaching, coaching some high school baseball. I was like, I don't know nothing about coaching high school.
Baseball, exactly.
I don't know anything about coaching high school baseball. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to give signs. I don't know how to tell players how to. I can't be a pitching coach. I can't tell you how to adjust your wind up or anything. I don't know anything about this. Yeah, get out of here. I can coach some basketball. I can't do baseball. It's too complicated.
Have you seen the third base coach for the Orioles? I don't think he knows when to send or stop guys either.
Yeah, I mean, I can do the windmill, right? I can go, send them through. And also I don't know any Spanish, so I think that would hurt my. If we open up a camp in Tanzania and they need someone who can speak Swahili and English, I might have an opportunity to help. But I don't think there's any baseball happening in Tanzania.
No, that's going to be like a Cool Runnings movie where you're going to have to teach them baseball.
I'll have to start it and teach them baseball, and maybe I'll get a superstar out of it.
Translate soccer into baseball.
Yeah.
All right. Yankees for 4 games. As I mentioned, that puts Matt Harvey on the rubber tomorrow night against Garcia, who's making his 2021 debut for the Yankees.
Yeah. I'm always I don't know why, but I'm still super fascinated by Matt Harvey. If he can regain some of this, and so far this year, he's been kind of good, but I don't know how. He's been not back to Mets form, but as good as he's been since leaving the Mets. Right, this is the best he's been since leaving the Mets, and so he's been this kind of not great, but not terrible. This kind of and kind of you're waiting to see if this is the start of being really good, or if he's still going to just stay average. And I mean, I'll take average, but we'll see.
4 games. A 5.12 ERA, 19 innings pitched, but 16 strikeouts.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what you're saying. I always feel like, and it's almost like they're protecting Matt Harvey. I always feel like Brandon Hyde pulls Matt Harvey too early.
Yeah.
So he doesn't give Matt Harvey the chance to implode. It's almost like, all right, things might not go well here. We're going to get him out. And it's is that to save him so he looks good so you can trade him? Or is it that they're trying to be so cautious with him because it's the best he's looked in years?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a good question. He's only pitched 5 innings. That's the most. And he always goes 4 2/3 or 5 innings.
Right.
And I do think they are much quicker with Matt Harvey than with everybody else. And I think it might be partly because like he's trying to kind of regain his form and they want to kind of build confidence. He also like he gives up a lot of hits. He just like he always has runners on. I'm just let's look at his stat line. He's given up 6 hits, 7 hits, then 3 hits, which is good, but only in 4 2/3, and then 8 hits.
But he's got, like I said, he's got the 5.12 ERA. His career ERA is 4.16.
Yeah.
So that's not bad. That's pretty close to his career average. But his strikeout rate, 16 strikeouts in 19 innings, is pretty high.
Yeah. I mean, and it shows that his stuff is good, right? Because people are swinging and missing. And I think, like, if you look at his career, it's kind of the career in 2 halves, right? Where he was with the Mets early on in his career, where he had an ERA under 3 on average. He was averaging ERA under 3. And then kind of his post Mets life with Kansas City and with the Angels, and where his ERA has been up, in double digits. So certainly, like, the fact that his ERA isn't in double digits is a good sign. And that his ERA, and if you look at some of the sabermetric stuff and FIP and so some of the more independent of kind of the circumstances that impact that ERA, his numbers are even better. So a lot of people argue that he's pitched better than that 5.12 ERA, but he's pitched well enough that really I'm intrigued to watch more. But certainly a tough task going up against the Yankees. And
that's the thing. The AL East is tougher to pitch in than the NL East was in those years that he pitched for the Mets. When he pitched for the Mets in 2012 to 2017, the NL East was not that strong of a division.
Yeah.
So that also helped him.
Right, and it's an interesting match, right? Because David Garcia for the Yankees, I mean, he's a 21-year-old prospect here with good stuff, and I mean, they're relying. They have some starting pitching issues, and they're hoping David Garcia can have kind of build on last year and have a really good year. But it's interesting, right? A young rookie versus this veteran Harvey. So I think I'm excited to watch it, and I'm excited to watch our offense. Right? Was this 8-run game kind of an aberration, or is this a sign that our offense is turning around? So I'm curious to see how our offense plays this next series.
Exactly, and I'm going to cut us off there because this week you and I still have Section 336 to do together tomorrow, where we're really going to dig into all this again.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And on more of a broader fashion. And again, we've got Birdland Tonight all this week, so make sure you continue to check that out as well. So, all right, Matt. Well, thanks for joining me a little last minute today.
Yeah, I didn't know the situation with the kids and stuff.
I understand. It's how it goes. There's an advantage to having older kids.
So I just snuck upstairs. I'm surprised I was able to do it without any interruption.
It's all good. All right, guys. Thanks for listening to Birdland Tonight. Continue to go over to the podcast app and rate and review the show, and check out other podcasts like The Warehouse, I Like the Duck, Bleacher Birds, and, of course, Section 336. Talk to you later.